This is the Fox 5 News Block.
Travel headaches as Amtrak and New Jersey Transit service into Penn Station is suspended over power troubles, leaving countless travelers stranded. And the subway death that divided New Yorkers moves to the final stage. Closing arguments began today in the Daniel Penny Jordan Neely chokehold case. Good afternoon. I'm Arthur Trian. Welcome to the News Block. Here is a live look outside right now. Liv Johnson's here now with our forecast, which, looking at this, you might not think it, but may include snow.
Yes, later this week it may include some snow, but as you can tell if you've already been outside, it is just cold, okay? We're not alone though. We actually have a lot of the country in this kind of cold snap right now, stretching all the way down through the mid-Atlantic, down into the southeast, like areas like Georgia, Tennessee, but of course we are much cooler still than those places in the south. Currently we're in the upper 30s, 38 for New York, 39 out east on Long Island. We have 40 for Hartford, still just 36 up in Poughkeepsie and 37 down the shore in New Jersey. A little bit of a wind chill, so most of us actually feel below freezing. You can see in New York it feels about 30, and then in areas north of the city some places feel like they're in the 20s, like White Plains 28, but again most of us feel below freezing. Now in part that's because of this wind chill and the wind speed, 17 miles an hour coming from the northwest, so that's bringing some cooler air down to us, and we're pretty breezy throughout the tri-state. We also have some wind gusts around the area, so 22 miles an hour right now in New York, 22 for Newark as well. Not as breezy as we were over the weekend, but still makes a difference. Other than that, it's been mostly clear. Of course, here's that snow that we've been dealing with in portions of New York State, all the way down into Ohio, Pennsylvania. That lake effect snow, they've seen several feet over the weekend. Now, going forward through today and into tomorrow, it's really going to look much of the same. Cool temperatures, below freezing at night, then just back up into the 30s, but mostly clear. Then looking at your 7-day, that snow that we were talking about could come late Wednesday to early Thursday morning, and again on Saturday. Arthur?
All right, thanks so much, Liv. Well, it is as if the Grinch was in charge of the commute for thousands who are returning to work this morning after their Thanksgiving holiday. In the middle of the morning rush, New Jersey Transit riders heading to Penn Station had their commutes grind to a halt in Hoboken. Commuters had to get off and transfer to the PATH train, making for a frustrating start to their week.
It's just crazy. They're always delayed.
Service was suspended in and out of Penn Station. New Jersey Transit says problems with overhead wires on tracks that they share with Amtrak are to blame. Right now, Midtown direct service is no longer being diverted to Hoboken, but several other lines are still experiencing delays. And let's take a live look at Newark Liberty International Airport right now. The TSA says, well, this is downtown Manhattan, and while the weather is clear, the TSA says they had to screen more than 3 million travelers yesterday, breaking a previous record by about 74,000 people. FlightAware says hundreds of thousands of travelers dealt with flight troubles on Sunday. Meantime, AAA says it's expecting some of the worst times to travel by car right now through this evening. And closing arguments began today in the trial of Daniel Penny. While walking into court, the former Marine veteran, was met by protesters.
Guilty! Guilty! Guilty!
You can probably hear it there. Protesters chanting their hopes for a guilty verdict in this case. Daniel Penny has pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. In May of 2023, it was he who held Jordan Neely in a chokehold after Neely, a homeless man, threatened strap hangers in a subway car. Penny's lawyers say he acted to protect his fellow passengers. Prosecutors say Penny went too far. If convicted, he faces up to 15 years in prison. And developing news out of the Middle East right now, the Israeli military saying Hezbollah fired into a border zone held by Israel today, marking Hezbollah's first attack since the start of its ceasefire with Israel last week. Israel says the two launched projectiles fell into open areas and that no one was hurt, but Hezbollah says it fired on Israeli military positions in the area as a, quote, defensive and warning response, accusing Israel of repeatedly violating the ceasefire deal. President Biden going back on his word by pardoning his son Hunter. The move spares Hunter from the possibility of a prison sentence for federal felony gun and tax convictions. Fox's Rebecca Castor has a reaction that's been pouring in from Washington.
President Joe Biden ignoring the press Monday morning as he boards Air Force One en route to Angola. He'll be out of the country the next 3 days after dropping a major bombshell, pardoning his son Hunter, something he and the White House insisted for months he would not do.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead.
Hunter was found guilty in June on 3 federal gun violations, and in September he pled guilty to 9 federal tax charges. He faced sentencing for both later this month, but that will no longer happen. In a statement, President Biden called his son's convictions a, quote, miscarriage of justice.
Anybody could have understood if Biden had just looked America in the eye and said, look, this is my son. I know it's abusive, but I'm going to pardon him. They would have understood that a lot better than the series of lies. But the series of lies were driven by the election calendar.
The president's pardon doesn't just cover these known crimes, but any crime Hunter may have committed between January 2014 and December 2024.
There should be a continuation of investigation on Hunter for all the things that was going on, because this is one of the most corrupt families that we've ever seen in the White House.
President Biden says he made this decision over the weekend while spending Thanksgiving with his family in Nantucket. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox 5 News.
Do we need to tell you? It's Cyber Monday, and it has become one of the biggest online shopping days of the year thanks to the deals and the hype the retail industry has created to fuel it.
We prepare for this day all year long. We have hired 250,000 seasonal full-time and part-time employees across the country because, again, we know just how busy not only today but the whole holiday season is.
It'd be nice to do delivery guys. They're working hard this time of year. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday, a day that encourages people to give back in whatever way they can. Hoboken, New Jersey is rolling out a brand new program aimed at keeping residents safe from the growing number of e-bikes and scooters that many say are taking over their streets. Fox 5's Teresa Priolo has more on the steps being taken to address this problem.
When people cross, they're supposed to stop, but they just keep going. Somebody could get hit.
I have a dog and I'm walking around every day and walking down the street this way and they're flying around the other corner.
It's something of a high-speed free-for-all in Hoboken, with the streets seemingly dominated by e-bikes and scooters, riding how they want, when they want.
It's definitely a little scary with them around sometimes, just because you never really know if they're paying attention fully, and I feel like sometimes they just don't respect the rules that they're supposed to follow.
Micromobility, as it's known, is regulated in Hoboken. There are a few city ordinances on the books. They're supposed to follow the traffic laws, and they can't have Class 3 bikes. That's those that go over 20 miles an hour.
Right now, Class 3 e-bikes are being impounded at the owner's expense. We have an ongoing initiative where Class 1 and Class 2 bikes, especially for delivery drivers in the city of Hoboken, they could register themselves within City Hall.
The initiative is known as Test and Vest. The idea is to make the streets safer. Lots of drivers are registering, but we're not seeing a lot of vests. And while police can ticket delivery workers for not having a vest, they are really concerned with bikes on the sidewalks or riding against traffic.
If we're out in the street and we see them, and we will stop them for riding on the sidewalk, we will inquire if they are registered. If they're registered and they don't have their vest, we'll educate them on where they can go get that vest. And if they don't, well, you could use our discretion and they will get a summons. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
And then there's the Class 3 issue. Hoboken police are impounding the bikes, but as soon as they remove one, another emerges. It's a problem that feels simultaneously out of control and one of the city's own making.
Enforcement is what we want. We think that will fix this problem because accountability leads to responsibility.
Christina co-founded the Hoboken Safe Sidewalks Association.
We have laws in place, and we know that if they are enforced, we can contribute to the vitality of our town.
And we reached out to the city to get their take on the e-bike situation, but we haven't heard back. In Hoboken, Teresa Priolo, Fox 5 News.
Here's something everybody's asking. Health experts say today is the deadline to throw out your Thanksgiving leftovers or to put them in the freezer. After 4 days, bacteria can cause food to develop a bad smell or taste, but even if it doesn't look bad or smell bad, it still increases the risk of food poisoning. If you do freeze your leftovers, they can be good for 2 to 6 months. President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden unveiling the White House's holiday decorations. This year's theme is a season of peace and light. Several hundred volunteers spent the past week decorating the White House's public spaces with nearly 10,000 feet of ribbon, more than 28,000 ornaments, and 2,200 doves and You get the point. There are 83 Christmas trees in the mansion. The official tree in the Blue Room is a towering Fraser fir, pretty much the gold standard. This one is from North Carolina. And music legend Elton John has revealed that he's lost sight in both of his eyes after contracting an eye infection. The singer made the announcement after the opening night performance of The Devil Wears Prada, the musical. That was in London last night. The 77-year-old said he was not able to see the performance but enjoyed listening to it. He wrote the score for the show that's based on the 2006 movie. John says earlier this year he only had limited vision in one eye after dealing with a severe eye infection over the summer. At the time, he had said he was healing, but that was an extremely slow process. The numbers are in, and Moana 2 has sailed its way to the top spot this weekend at the box office.
Little sis! Fix it! You were gone forever. It was 3 days.
Gone, but what a comeback. The film bringing in a whopping $221 million in ticket sales, setting a new record for Thanksgiving moviegoing. Wicked came in second place with $117.5 million, and Gladiator 2 fought its way to third place with $44 million. Let's take a live look outside right now, and Liv Johnson's going to wrap us up.
Hi, Arthur. Yeah, it's gotten a little bit more cloudy out there. Other than that, it's a pretty quiet day, not just for us, but most of the country. Just have to put into consideration that snow, that lake effect snow, a little bit in the Midwest as well. And a lot of places in New York have got a significant amount of snow. Look at Barnes Corners, 65.5 inches. Black River, more than 52. Copenhagen, more than 58. So lots of snow for parts of western upstate New York. Highs today, 40 for New York. A lot of us will be just at 40 or in the upper 30s, which is below average, because usually we at least get up to about 49 degrees, and the low is what a lot of us are seeing as our high today. For our lows, 30 is going to be the low in New York, but most of us are in the 20s. Poughkeepsie 19 and Monticello 16. Tomorrow, same thing, highs in the low 40s or upper 30s, and going to be a chilly week ahead of us. Remember, Wednesday night we have some rain that's likely going to move through late into Thursday morning, and some of that could turn into a wintry mix. Friday is just a really cold day, just a high of 36, and then on Saturday we have another chance of seeing a little bit of snow, but whatever we do see wouldn't be significant. Arthur?
All right, December is here. Thanks so much, Liv. That is your news block for now. I'm Arthur Chian. Thanks so much for joining us. Tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 right here on Fox Local for all the day's developments, and we will see you back here tomorrow.